how I can release that pain.
Authenticity.
Yes, but how I can release that pain, you know.
Gradually. With whoever we feel the safest too. And that's the trick here right now. That's the part that we don't realize through the lack of information and wisdom that has been hidden from us, how much we're holding one another back because we feel unsafe to open to one another about our shadows and to be authentic. And also we know that's why lots of, angels and light workers, they have to be in a disguise. There's a reason why the magician or the witch, they are under a cloak a lot of the times. And that can be for dark or for light, because we don't feel safe to be authentic in our reality, because we don't understand the truth of who we are and how we affected one another and how connected we are. So to get out of this mess, we're in a mess, that we've gotten to. We're in a cacophony, like the music, like I said, we're so out of tune that it's going to take a little bit of a dance of something that is not going to be quite perfect. It's going to take chaos. That's why from chaos comes the greatest order. We're figuring it out. We're going to fail sometimes. We're not going to do it always the best and in the most, I'm not going to be here walking as a 12th dimensional and perfect, all the time decision and never be, because imagine me walking around being in fear of my own thoughts that, oh my God, by thinking this, I'm judging this person and oh my gosh, what kind of reality can I be creating for them right now by focusing this way? But by doing that, by condemning myself for having that kind of thought come through, it's actually making it 20 times worse than just letting the thought pass, observing it. That's how you do it. You observe it. You try to take the most in alignment action. You try not to act right away on emotion and that's the whole thing here. They've got us so reactive that we don't act from the heart. We start acting as much as we can from the heart. And we have to also feel compassion for when we sometimes don't act purely from the heart, because our heart has been so wounded that those wounds and traumas also have to express themselves. That's why in this reality there is such thing as righteous anger. There is such thing as beauty in cursing sometimes, and all of those things, they have to happen. It has to gradually, the same as we're gonna sometimes have to put a murderer or whatever, separate them from society and put them in a prison so he doesn't harm other people. But would God do that from the highest perspective? It's different there. There's different course of action that has to be taken when you're in a physical. And it's just melding it step by step. When you tune an instrument, you have to go, it's slow. You keep hitting the string. Let's say it's a guitar, and the other person hits the string, and you do it again and again and again until it becomes easier and easier. So right now, it's just holding the compassion for ourselves and realizing maybe there's some beauty in the mess, and we're learning a lot through the mess. So we do our best. But when we're conscious of something, that's what we have to, that's why you're responsible to your level of consciousness. And then it's also every time we can judge somebody else, we also, being conscious already, can start looking at what that is reflecting already in us. What is inside? What is that person reflecting? Why is this particular thing triggering me or manifesting in my reality? And also it's important that, let's say you keep manifesting something in your reality and you say, what's wrong with me? Why do I'm focusing positive, why does this keep happening? Why is this, showing up? There's two answers. In this reality, it's not always just you creating a reality, because we're a collective. And the collective energy is also creating. So we're not always going to see reflected in our world perfectly just through our lens. We're going to see, but that's the choice. Then how are we going to interpret it? That's the interpretation of the reality. And I was gonna say the other part. Oh yes, and then with our own self, the second thing, besides recognizing that it's a collective, if you keep remanifesting something and you're just focusing positive, it's a clear indication that there's something within you that you're avoiding that wants to be looked at. It's not about focusing positive always and suppressing all of our darkness. We are actually here. We have so much to learn from our darkness. In some way, our darkness is our greatest teacher because it's showing us how much we long to live and love because we keep reaching for the light. So really the most incredible part of the story is one who reaches out from the depths of darkness, one who asks why, or asks for help, or simply reaches out in surrender to that love, to that something greater. The one who questions, it's more amazing than all the answers, all the teachers combined. That's what God is proud of the most, is one that starts asking. And also, this came to me the other day, like the saying that and that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Something that I'm processing right now is that I feel sometimes that humans are turning away their head, like choosing not to look at, some of the horrible things happening. That's because I feel that hurts more than those, let's say, no, they have some opinion, right? That it's the other, they're in that kind of hate, rage, but they're standing for something. But those that are just choosing not to look and not to speak at all or have an opinion at all, that's actually indifference. And then that saying, I remembered, that's the opposite of love, is indifference. Have some opinion. It doesn't matter what it is. Speak your truth. Don't be indifferent. Indifference is the worst. And then comes the other layer of course, that's another judgment, right? I'm judging right now someone that would be in indifference. From a higher perspective, I know that my human side is judging that, but I know from a higher perspective, indifference comes from pain. It comes from trauma. It comes from becoming so numb and so many times speaking and being shut down that we become indifferent. We need to help each other get out of the state of indifference. And hold compassion for that, hold patience for that. But then, yes, on the human side, it's hard to, it's scary, to look at people and feel like, how can you make them care? How can you make them care? You can give them all the information, but you can't make them care. How do you make them care? So I get stuck sometimes, there from or not stuck, but it's just, it's just something I'm processing. It hurts to feel like how, because you have to hold the patience and just follow, again, your joy. And joy doesn't mean just some blissful state. It's a passion, whether that be a passion for mathematics or a passion for volunteering somewhere or a passion for sitting at home and carving something, whatever is something that is raising you in frequency. That is the greatest gift that you can offer to this world. Because that spreads faster than anything, than shouting truths even from the rooftop. Raise your frequency. If it brings you joy to shout from the rooftop, then shout from the rooftop. Yeah.
I think what I understand more and more, and I have a little experiences of that, and
Speak a little bit
I
louder.
thought first this was more like a boredom of this reality, but now I start seeing and understand that concept of what Jesus say of this world, but not what how you exactly say.
That you're not of it.
Yeah, but you're not of it, because you start seeing from different perspective.
From the but you're not of it.
Yeah, you start seeing from different perspectives. So the wisdom, it helps you to not to take accusation or to be poked by negative energy, because you just understand from different perspective. You become. It's exactly the same thing, like, like I say, I love you so much, I know who you are, and let's say, all of a sudden, you forget who you are. I cannot harm you. I cannot harm you because I will still remember who you are. I will wait for you to wake up.
By, like, judging or something.
Yeah, judging you, or I can be angry
Yeah.
in the moment for you because of your action. I can be frustrated. But I will never want to harm you because I know who you are, and I know why you are here, and I know also what happened to you that you forget. So I see your wounds, so I can have much more patience and much more forgiveness, and also forgiveness to myself, because you see, I am on my own road. I remember when I was doing things that today I would be not proud of it, how I think, what was my action. And I also see that my action, which I thought was a strength, it was actually fear and insecurity. This was a mask that I played to feel safe, to feel recognized, to feel love. And I understand that this was just a masquerade.
And we still need our masks.
Yeah, I'm not saying to be able to.
That's a gradual peeling off layers,
exactly.
like an onion.
If I will reveal myself completely right now to people who are not ready to see me this way, I will hurt them and myself. So we can slowly start, peel the mask slowly, and maybe give the courage to the one who would like to peel the mask, but they don't have that strength yet.
So
but
ultimately what I said, that God, it's choice. It really is choice, because, as the creator, or again, how you want to interpret, you interpret something, and from the interpretation in 3D world, action. So exactly what you said, you don't want to hurt. You would never hurt me, even though something might, your friend might piss you off, or, like I'm saying, or why don't they care? It hurts inside. Like I want to cry, and it's okay, I can cry. That doesn't make me not, a evolved being. No, on the 3D, from this, perspective, because we're multidimensional beings, so we can hold those different perspectives simultaneously. But being conscious and aware, you're not going to take action that is going to hurt and punish and lower the other person even more.
Revenge. There is no revenge.
And sometimes in the 3D, though, let's say you yell at someone or you call them out on something, sometimes that is also the okay action to take, because it being taking the right action, it doesn't mean that it's always feathers and rainbows and
absolutely.
Sometimes it's telling you fuck off. Sometimes it's going to be setting boundaries. Sometimes it's going to be calling someone out on their shit. Sometimes it comes in many different ways. Like I said, we're in a messy reality, and sometimes you don't know how much those moments can also help shift somebody. Someone comes back after a few years and says, you know what, I remember, like when you said years ago when somebody told you that you can't do it, and you said you got so mad, but then it was like your drive to prove them, and you did do it yourself.
Well, as an example, what you did this video for me for my birthday, and people were talking about why they like me, and one of your friend, or my friend in the same time, say, I like when you yell at me.
Oh yeah, when you call me out and tell me the truth.
Yeah, and say, You know, when you are honest, when you don't buy my bullshit, it make me think. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's also coming from someone that's many years younger than you. It's always the most difficult with people that are, because they look up to you like a mother, you know? But it's hard sometimes with people that we want to have as friends in that way, or that's from my experience, because I feel I've had to learn how to hone back my honesty a little bit, become more, because I used to just say whatever, you know, came to my mind, and sometimes now I'm like, no, being intuitive, I have to sometimes know when I'm speaking to somebody directly.
Because how people, you know, hear you, how they interpret your words. Sometimes they are not ready for, they just don't understand the way you think they should understand.
Yeah.
They interpret this.
To another degree, you can never, I mean, if we're always going to be worried about how someone's going to interpret something, like we always are going to perceive things slightly different. Even me and you who are so close, we might find out some things that we feel like, oh, we are perceiving this exactly the same. I'm actually learning that from doing audio recordings, because sometimes I think that even I've caught myself a few times, you say something and I don't think it made sense to me in that moment of hearing it, and I'm asking you to explain, right? But then I listen to the audio later and I completely, I'm like, oh, okay, that I get where that just came from. But if I didn't have a second chance to listen to it, so it just shows to me how many things are misinterpreted in our words. And that's too, we have to cut each other some freaking slack and learn sometimes. That's the art of communication. Ask people, what did you mean by that? You might discover that how you're interpreting it, somebody might be saying something and they might have a completely different definition, like semantics of words than, you know, you do. You know, I'm going to say the word karma, and somebody has, you know, a completely different interpretation of that word, and therefore the whole thing got lost in translation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're learning. But it's hard with like people that are. This is also like a big topic that I feel like that I want to discuss, and it's pretty like crazy how people generally, I don't know if this is the mind programming here or what, we will trust some stranger that we barely know, go and, you know, okay, somebody's a healer, right? They're having amazing abilities. You're gonna go and this strange person, you don't even know who or what, they'll trust them. But your closest friends, family, they're so much more skeptical. But what I actually thought about was what that really shows is, who do we not trust the most? Ourselves. Yeah. Because who's the closest next thing to ourselves? Family. Who's the next thing closest to ourselves? Our closest friends. That literally is so huge, because it shows who we've given our power away to. And in some bigger, higher way, it can even be how religion, because I don't mean God from the spiritual perspective of God is everything, all there is, it's us, it's omnipresent. But the God man on a cloud, it's the same thing. They will trust and kill and go to wars for some stranger, but your own child, you won't listen to them. You'll ridicule them. Friends that you've known for 10 years, your belief changes about something you want to share, and they make fun of you and tell you that you're crazy instead of trying to understand you. I really think that that's the mind control here, and how much we don't trust our own self, and even how we keep looking to the outside for validation. Everything in all spiritual teachers have been saying, go within, go within. The truth you will find within. But we are still seeking externally for our truth. Authority will tell us. This station will tell us.
Yeah.
CNN, SHMENN, this, you know, publication that is saying, oh, science, evidence, and it's proven by this. It's crazy. It's like, then the cognitive dissonance. People will literally see something right in front of them and still say, no, I don't believe that. And even how lots of people, they want evidence, they want to see something physically, right? I want physical evidence. If I say to my friend, okay, they say, well, let's just say aliens don't exist, right? I say, well, I see them. I've seen one, and I'm just, I'm not.
Not only you can show the energy that you caught on the camera, and they still fall asleep when they look at this.
Well, the falling asleep is another thing, but just generally, no, you seeing it now, you're crazy. But wait, you just said that we have to physically see it, right? And that's just an example. But if you actually do physically see it, then you're crazy. So unless you can see only what they currently see, then it's not valid.
Or somebody that you don't know, but have a degree and have some thesis, 20 years ago about something, you're going to value that person more because...
Yeah, and did you see who put in that publication and evidence? And did you watch the experiment they did? Or are you just trusting this and this journal because they are saying that they are the ones that are the, ones who have the decision? If people are going to wait for CNN to tell them the truth, like, we're going to be waiting a damn long time until, we are where we are, because go within, trust your intuition. You will know who is trustworthy and who is not if we start going within, because you just are starting to read who is coming from the heart and who is coming from fear. From fear, they will have an agenda. And the ones from fear are also going to misinterpret you as the one coming from love as you having an agenda, when in truth, you're actually coming from love. But they don't believe it, because in their head, everybody must have an agenda, because they're so fear programmed that they cannot believe that there's actually something as true, authentic love, which means probably that they don't feel in themselves that they are able to give true, authentic love in that way. Because I trust myself that I am able to love. That exists for me. Love exists. I'm not perfect at it in all, in every moment, but it's not something that I would deny in others. Like, I want to believe that people have love in them. I can still see it. But then the compassion comes again for those who've been disconnected from love so much. Because to see love in others, you have to have received love. You have to have seen love yourself. So, being the ones that are able to see love in yourself and believing that love exists in others, we have to help prove to others that they can be loved, that they can feel safe. And that will take some time here in this, And
it's very difficult when you're trying to prove and you try to show them and then you get kicked in the stomach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't. It's going to take time here in linearity, because sometimes either they're going to have the same thing that we're saying, they're going to start experiencing it. All of a sudden, oh, wait, this energy that you said you saw, I saw it. And all of a sudden they're like, wait, tell me more, because I physically saw it.
Well, they can saw it, but they
will sometimes see, let's say they're on their deathbed and you're holding their hand. What really matters, instead of all the publications and all the, others that they gave them the authority, this person's right or not, and they know the truth, but you're the one that's there. They can see that love actually exists. You don't have an agenda to sit with them and hold their hand on their deathbed. There's nothing for you to gain by that. So some people, it just takes, the ones that are more wounded, they need more healing of being betrayed.
Yeah.